Welcome back to Quran 101. This is the fourth part of the series, How We Interpret the Quran, episode 3. So here are a few more principles and frameworks that you can think about when you try to answer the question, how do we make sense of the Quran? How can we interpret the Quran? The first, which might seem a little bit strange, is how the Quran relates to us on a psychological level. So we read the Quran and there's an impact. Because we believe the Quran is revelation and because we believe it is the words of God, so on and so forth, as I've repeated several times in this mini-series. When we read the Quran, we are moved. Sometimes we are moved to tears. Sometimes we are moved to joy. Sometimes somebody's sick and we recite Quran and they're healed. So there's some kind of physical impact that's happening when we read the Quran on us. Muslims in the past were very concerned with what we call today psychology. Of course, we didn't call it psychology. It was part of the study of tasawwuf, or the study of tazkiyah, the dimension of ihsan, or spiritual excellence, the spiritual dimension in the Islamic sciences. But there has been a lot of work that's been done in Western psychology. Some of it is useful, some of it is probably counter to our paradigm, but nonetheless, that's got to be taken into consideration. So one area of focus for the person that is trying to seek to make sense of the Quran, to interpret the Quran, is how the Quran is going to impact us. Therefore, you need to know something about Islamic psychology. That means you need to know about the science of tasawwuf. You also need to know the science of the language itself, specifically rhetoric, al-balagha, to understand how the Quran, how the verses are constructed, how the words are strung together, and what kind of meanings are inferred through that structure. So that's one area, the Quran and its impact on us. Another area is the stories of the prophets. That's a huge part of the Quranic message. As a matter of fact, not too long ago, I recorded an entire course on my platform, Making Sense of Islam, for the stories of the prophets. So for people that want to take a deep dive into that, you're more than welcome to sign up for that course. But the stories of the prophets are like archetypical stories. They are the archetypes of what can go wrong in society. And then those prophets were sent to sort of redirect and correct those people. So if we want to know what happens with overconsumption, if we want to know what happens with hypersexualization, if we want to know what happens with political corruption, so on and so forth, those are just sort of motifs that we find throughout human history. And the reason we have these stories in the Quran, these are not all the stories of the prophets, but some of the stories of the prophets, is because we will have those archetypes in there. History repeats itself. Allah Ta'ala says, وَتِلْكَ الْأَيَّامُ نُدَاوِلُهَا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. These days we alternate between people. So we will experience something like that in some way, shape, or form in our lifetime. So knowing about those stories is a quintessential part of understanding the Quranic message. And then the third part is that each surah, each chapter of the Quran has a theme. Understanding that theme is very, very important to understanding the specifics of that chapter. There are some later mufassirun who have talked about the thematic tafsir of the Quran. Some of the longer books of tafsir, you will find that discussion. I believe Muhammad al-Ghazali of the last generation has a standalone commentary called the Thematic Themes or something like that of the Quran. It's actually translated into English if I'm not mistaken. So those are very important to learn so that you understand, Surah Al-Fatiha, its theme is this. Surah Al-Baqarah, its theme is this, so on and so forth. It kind of helps it helps you stay grounded in reading the chapter and helps you direct all of the verses and relate it to that access meaning in some way, shape, or form. We have one more episode left in this entire series, so please be on the lookout for that, and I will conclude this discussion, inshallah. See you soon.